The Ministry of Information, Media and Broadcasting Services convenes its annual retreat, gathering heads of institutions under its purview to chart a way forward to achieve the sector's goals. The engaging session saw sectoral heads presenting 5 key deliverables they aim to achieve within the next 6 months. An opportunity for reflection and stock-taking, the Minister of Information, Media and Broadcasting Services, Dr. Ismail Assise, underscored gains registered over the past few months, noting commitments to fulfill the sector's priority areas.
Information is a basic human right, and it's the role of the ministries or mandate to make sure the public has access to authentic, reliable, relevant information. And also the ATI law, which was passed for the first time in this country by His Excellency the President, is to make sure that every citizen has access to information. So we engage in proactive disclosure. Now, our priorities are very wide-ranging. One of them is to ensure that with this law, which is passed, the ATI Act, to implement it, civil servants who are custodians of information to be requested by citizens must be equipped and given the right tool to be able to know when to give this information, how to give this information, and what information to give within the framework of the ATI law.
The gathering by the minister and institutional stakeholders accorded a unique chance to reflect on their gains and chart a new path for the year ahead.
As a country, we want to digitize all government procedures and systems. And the more we digitize, the more information that is provided by users. So as a government, it is our responsibility to ensure that those information are secured. GRTS has started modernizing its infrastructure by starting with its studios, both for the radio and the TV, and also it is now broadcasting on HD.
The convergence was also a moment for institutional heads to map out effective strategies targeted for implementation in the next 6 months.
There is no country in the world that has a public broadcaster that is self-sufficient in funding. The state has to come in. And this is the challenge that they have. If you look at our next door neighbors, the state that is mainly adopted, here this will be the same. The bill that the talks gave us, everything is okay, but can we afford that money as GRTS? We cannot. But there are small steps that you can take while waiting for something big, and we drop that. We change a lot at GRTS. But why didn't we get it before? Because of the challenges. There are challenges. We are doing the real challenges.
The Minister of Information underscored key strides registered whilst renewing commitments to foster and build public trust as the government's mouthpiece.
We talked about training for the civil servants to understand the law so they can be able to fulfill their duties. We also talked about modernizing GRTS, making sure that we have new studios with digital OV vans and so on and so forth. Also digitizing and modernizing GPPC to be more effective and more efficient. But also we talked about the DTT, the digital terrestrial transition, going to public, separating public broadcasting from transmission, the DTT. How do we mobilize resources to implement that? And many other things, for example, new regulations and guidelines for radio licensing and TV licensing. So the purpose of this gathering today is to come up with a strategy on how do we mobilize the resources if it's outside of the budget. How do we now have a roadmap forward, and what are the strategies to make sure within 6 months, if we don't even completely implement all our deliverables, that at least all would have started and 1 or 2 would have been delivered.
Coming in the opening quarter of the year, the gathering symbolizes the ministry's focus on building effective service delivery as the information minister seized the moment to call on various institutional heads to ensure stronger action towards collective objectives needed to achieve greater success. Momodou Lamin Choi, GRTS News.